Can a drone that fits in your pocket actually be worth buying in 2026? That's the question a lot of people are asking about the DJI Neo2. Because on the surface, it looks like a fun little gadget. Lightweight, compact, beginner-friendly. But once you start digging into what it can actually do, things get interesting very quickly. We're talking smarter obstacle sensing, smoother video, faster tracking, and one feature that honestly feels like science fiction, gesture control that actually works. So today, we're breaking down the real-world performance, the strengths, the trade-offs, and whether the Neo2 is just a toy or a surprisingly capable tool. Let's start with the design, because this is where the Neo2 makes its first impression. At around 151 grams, it stays under that important 250-gram threshold, which means in many places you can fly without registration. That alone makes it incredibly convenient for casual users and travelers. The body feels solid and well-built, not flimsy like some ultralight drones. The removable prop guards add protection, though they can be a little tricky to remove if you want to shave off weight. One of the smartest additions is the camera protection design. The lens sits behind reinforced guards that help prevent direct impact during flat crashes. It's a small detail, but trust me, it matters the first time your drone takes a tumble. Now here's where things really changed compared to the original version: flight performance. The Neo2 feels noticeably quicker and more responsive. Bigger motors and propellers give it stronger acceleration and better tracking speed. In real tests, it can follow moving subjects much more reliably, even during activities like cycling. Wind resistance also improved significantly. The previous model struggled in breezy conditions, but this one holds position with much more confidence. Is it as stable as larger drones? Not quite, but for its size and price, the performance feels surprisingly capable. It finally feels like a real drone instead of just a flying camera. Safety features are another major upgrade. The Neo2 now includes full 360-degree obstacle sensing, along with a forward-facing LiDAR sensor. That combination helps the drone detect obstacles even in lower light conditions, and in most situations it works very well. It can avoid trees, adjust its path, and keep tracking subjects smoothly. But here's the reality check. No obstacle system is perfect. Thin objects like wires or poles can still slip through detection. So the lesson here is simple. Use the sensors as support, not as a guarantee. Fly smart, especially in tight spaces. Let's talk about the camera, because this is where many people are genuinely surprised. The Neo2 uses a half-inch sensor paired with a 2-axis mechanical gimbal. That might not sound revolutionary, but the results are noticeably better than the previous generation. Footage looks cleaner, sharper, and more stable, especially in lower light conditions. The dynamic range is strong for a drone in this price category, and the colors look vibrant straight out of the camera. One small tip from real-world use: reduce the sharpness setting slightly if you want more natural-looking footage during editing. It makes a bigger difference than you might expect. Now here's the feature that truly sets the Neo2 apart: gesture control. And I'm not exaggerating when I say it feels like magic. Raise your hand and the drone activates. Move your palm and it adjusts position. Hold out your hand and it returns to land. It turns the drone into something that feels almost alive. For solo creators, this is incredibly useful. Imagine stopping your bike, signaling the drone, and having it fly back to you automatically. No controller, no complicated steps, just simple interaction. It's one of those features that sounds like a gimmick until you use it. Of course, no device is perfect, and the biggest limitation here is battery life. In real-world use, flights typically last around 8 to 9 minutes. That's enough for quick shots and short sessions, but not ideal for long filming days. The good news is the charging is relatively fast, and the multi-battery bundle makes a big difference. Think of it like this: the Neo2 is designed for bursts of creativity rather than marathon flights. Once you understand that, the limitation feels more manageable. So, is the DJI Neo2 worth buying in 2026? Honestly, yes, if you know what you're getting. This is not a professional filmmaking drone, and it's not meant to be. It's a fun, smart, highly portable drone that delivers impressive performance for its size and price. For beginners, travelers, vloggers, and anyone who wants an easy way to capture aerial footage, it makes a lot of sense. It feels approachable, reliable, and surprisingly capable. So what do you think? Would you use a tiny drone like this for your daily adventures, or do you prefer something bigger and more powerful? Drop your thoughts in the comments below.
Something genuinely new just landed in the drone world. And it's not just another incremental update with a slightly better camera. The DJI Avata 360 is a completely different kind of flying machine. And to understand why that matters, you have to go back a little. Insta360 made a bold move recently. Subject tracking and FPV flying all in one package. It caught a lot of people off guard. But DJI doesn't sit still for long. And the Avata 360 is their answer. Built on the foundation of the Avata 2 FPV drone and loaded with camera tech from the Osmo 360 Action Cam. Here's everything you need to know about whether this drone actually delivers. The whole concept behind the Avata 360 starts with two ultra-wide cameras, one pointing up and one pointing down, each with an f1.9 lens and a 1.1-inch 64-megapixel sensor. Together, they capture unobstructed 200-degree views that get stitched together into full 360 video at up to 8K 60 frames per second. What this means in practice is that you can focus entirely on flying and worry about framing your shots later in DJI's Studio app. It completely changes the way you think about piloting a drone. And if you're flying in FPV mode with DJI's Goggles M3, the head tracking lets you look in any direction just by turning your head, which sounds genuinely surreal. Unlike the anti-gravity A1, which only shoots 360 video, the Avata 360 also supports regular single-camera 4K shooting at up to 60 frames per second, giving you a lot more flexibility depending on what you're actually trying to capture. Because of that chunky 360 camera sitting on top, the Avata 360 is slightly bigger and noticeably heavier than the Avata 2, coming in at 455 grams. That does mean you'll need a permit to fly it in most regions, which is worth knowing before you buy. But that extra weight comes with a serious safety advantage. The propellers are fully shielded, making it genuinely safe to fly indoors or around people, something the open-prop anti-gravity A1 simply can't claim. On top of that, you get omni-obstacle sensors on the sides, a LiDAR sensor up front, landing sensors on the bottom, and obviously a camera that sees everything around it. DJI also throws in a foldable landing mat to keep those lenses off bare ground, which is a small but thoughtful touch. As an FPV drone, the Avata 360 is seriously fast, hitting up to 40 miles per hour in sport mode and capable of pulling off flips, rolls, and cinematic whoop-style maneuvers when paired with the optional FPV Remote Controller 3. Battery life sits at a rated 24 minutes, though real-world flying will likely bring that closer to 18 minutes, so grabbing the Fly More kit with 3 batteries is basically a must. Range is impressive at up to 20 kilometers, double what the Avata 2 could do, and video transmission to the goggles runs at 1080p 60 frames per second through DJI's OcuSync 4.0 system. Internal storage sits at 45 gigabytes, which fills up fast at 8K, but there's a micro SD card slot available, and you can transfer footage over USB-C or Wi-Fi through the DJI Fly app. Here's where we have to be honest, because the video quality conversation is more complicated than the specs suggest. That 8K number only applies to the full 360-degree footage. Your final flat video after processing will actually be 4K or lower, and digital zoom instead of optical zoom reduces sharpness further. You'll also occasionally notice a visible seam where the two camera feeds are stitched together, and edge softness from de-warping is a real issue. Low light performance also takes a hit because the fixed 360 camera relies on electronic stabilization instead of a gimbal, which can introduce motion blur in darker conditions. If pixel-perfect image quality is your priority, the Mini 5 Pro or Air 3S is going to serve you better. The DJI Avata 360 is a genuinely impressive piece of kit that outclasses its only real competitor in almost every way that matters. Better safety, better features, better overall polish, and a starting price of around $530, which actually undercuts Insta360. It's not for everyone though. This is a drone built for FPV pilots, solo filmmakers, and creators who want maximum flexibility in post over maximum image sharpness out of the box. If that's you, it's one of the most exciting drones on the market right now. So what are your thoughts? Is 360 video on a drone actually useful for what you shoot, or is it a gimmick you'd never use? Drop it in the comments. And if you found this helpful, like, subscribe, and hit the bell. There's a lot more drone and camera content coming your way.